Hi, this is Dr. Herzog with LeBauer Physical Therapy here today to talk about the 6 signs that you have a core or pelvic floor problem that can be fixed by physical therapy. But before we get started, go ahead and click the like and subscribe button below. And once again, here to talk about the 6 signs that you have a core or pelvic floor problem that can be fixed by physical therapy. So today is our 6th and final video. If you're interested in hearing the first 5 signs, they're in our video, so go ahead and check out our video list in our profile to find the first 5. But the 6th sign that you have a core or pelvic floor problem that can be addressed by physical therapy is that you've been doing Kegels, but your pelvic pain hasn't gone away and it's not resolved. So this can be for several different reasons. So the first big reason that Kegels might not be addressing your pelvic pain is because you don't have a weak pelvic floor, you have a tight pelvic floor. So this can be for several different reasons. Sometimes it's an underlying condition such as interstitial cystitis. It could be because of a traumatic childbirth if you are a mom. But regardless, Kegels, we want to make sure that we do Kegels when your pelvic floor is relaxed in order to get the full benefit from Kegels. Because even though Kegels are great, if you're performing Kegels on a tight pelvic floor, it can actually exacerbate your pelvic pain and make it worse. Another reason why Kegels might not be helping your problem, and one of the most common reasons I see is a lot of the athletes that I see in my clinic often come to me because they are having leakage when they're doing heavy squats or deadlifts, and they think that their pelvic floor is weak, so they just go and do a bunch of Kegels and they go to do heavy squats and deadlifts again, and they're still having leakage. And usually that's because in a lot of my athletes, their pelvic floor is actually tight, and that is why it's not doing its job under heavy loads. So in order for our muscles to be strong, they need to be able to lengthen to their full length to then be able to contract fully and access all of the power. So if we are doing Kegels on a tight pelvic floor, you're essentially just strengthening in this little range of motion, and if you don't loosen your pelvic floor, it can't fully elongate to then fully contract to produce the most power. So in a lot of my athletes that I see with leakage that have tried Kegels and aren't seeing relief from their symptoms, we have to loosen the pelvic floor before we go ahead and strengthen the pelvic floor. So another reason that Kegels might not be resolving your problem is you might not be doing Kegels in the correct dosage, or you might not be doing Kegels correctly. So a lot of the times here in our clinic, we focus on helping women truly know what a pelvic floor contraction feels like, because if you don't know what one feels like, you might not be performing them correctly, and that could be why you're not seeing results. Another reason is that how many times you're doing them a day, or the dosage just might not be correct. So a lot of the times we need to work on either pelvic floor strength, pelvic floor endurance, or pelvic floor coordination. So let's say that you have a coordination problem. You could be working on pelvic floor strength with Kegels, and maybe you've only been told, a lot of the times women are told, oh, just do a Kegel when you go to the bathroom, or just do 10 a day and you'll be fine. But if you have a pelvic floor coordination problem, working on just doing 10 Kegels a day or whenever you go to the bathroom isn't going to help solve your problem. So if you've been doing Kegels but your pelvic floor pain hasn't resolved, it could be because your pelvic floor is tight, therefore we need to loosen it before we strengthen it, or you might not be doing Kegels correctly, in which case a pelvic floor PT can help you learn to make that mind-muscle connection and perform Kegels correctly, or you might not be performing Kegels in the correct dosage, which would be how many times a day you're doing them, how long you're holding. A lot of people just hold Kegels for 1 second, but sometimes prolonged Kegel holds can be helpful. Another reason kind of why Kegels might not be producing the results that you want is because you're not reteaching your pelvic floor to coordinate with your core and hip. So like I mentioned, you can have a pelvic floor strength problem, a pelvic floor endurance problem, but you might also have a muscle coordination problem, in which case, basically the analogy I make is that your muscles need to be like a football team or like a soccer team, and that each player has to be strong on its own, but they also need to be able to communicate in order to effectively make a play happen, aka a movement happen, without pain and with full range of motion. So if you've been doing Kegels and you haven't been seeing the results that you want, it could be because your core and your pelvic floor aren't communicating and working well together, or your hip and core might not be working well together, and we just need to teach them to work together so they can fully perform a Kegel correctly. So if you've been doing Kegels for a while and you haven't been seeing the results that you're looking for, and you want to know why you haven't been seeing the results that you've been looking for, you would definitely be a good fit for our total body diagnostic. So what this is just a free 20-minute consult where you and one of our doctors of physical therapy who specializes in women's health will go ahead and chat about the symptoms that you're experiencing, what you've tried, and then they'll kind of take a look at you head to toe, just to see if your core or your hip are playing a role in your pelvic floor symptoms. We'll then talk about your goals and come up with a plan customized to you and your needs to help you reach those goals. So if this is something that you are interested in, go ahead and click the link in our bio to apply. And in the meantime, go ahead and comment below with something you learned from today's video, and click the like and subscribe button. So thanks for joining us on this 6-part series. Go ahead and check out the other videos and comment below with something that you learned. Thanks so much.